Is there anything better than the Tao Te Ching? Well, maybe, but let's start with that. Okay, we're here for Tao of the Day. If you are not familiar with Tao of the Day, it is where you come up and pick a number between 1 and 81. Why 1 and 81? Because we are going to read you your Tao for the day. This is the Tao Te Ching. The Tao Te Ching is a ancient text written about 600 BCE by presumably Lao Tzu. Of course, scholars can argue about anything, and so I'm not hedging my bets on any of it. I'm just going to say, hey, let's just say the Tao Te Ching is an awesome text written by Lao Tzu in 600 BCE. And after that, let's be present with this moment. Let's be present with what you receive when you pick your Tao for the day. Your Tao can be anywhere between 1 and 81, and each and every one of these helps us understand how to live our lives in a more reasonable way. Um, the Tao Te Ching can translate to the way, but I like to call it the canon of reason. It is the collection of everything you need in order to live a reasonable life. So, no matter what number you pick, it's going to be driving you into the direction of living a reasonable life. Now, many people, most of the people that come up also can find, and we together can find correlations between what's going on in your life right now and what the Tao has to say. A friend of mine picked up a friend of mine who's on here, Andy Scarantino, she picked up on the fact that I was getting the number 27 a lot recently, and that might be for me. And 27 starts with a traveler has no fixed plans. And it was important for me to let go of fixed plans, let go of the idea that I was in control of things. And so it was important to recognize that not only the numbers you are picking, how they relate to you, but each and every one of us that's listening, how they relate to us. How does this relate to me right now? How can I take something from this at this moment? So if you have a number between 1 and 81 you want to pick, I would invite you to come up and let's have a conversation a little bit. So what I'll do is I'll read through the entire Tao, and then you'll be able to come. Then you'll be able to tell me what you think about it, and then we'll go through it line by line, and I'll start to ask you a couple questions about what's going on and what it means to you when we go through this. There are a couple different translations I reach out for. Um, Currently I have Stephen Mitchell and Hogan kind of on like they're the ones that are on deck at the moment. I also have Isabel Mears. Isabel Mears wrote her translation back in 1916, so the very old translation, over 100 years, and it is important to understand that that's coming from a different type of writing, a different type. It's a little more flowery. It's a little more. It's sometimes it's a little more difficult to understand. But I am leaning heavily on Hogan and Mitchell. So if you guys are interested, why don't you step up and pick a number between 1 and 81. If you benefit from the work I do, I invite you to send me a tip at Venmo at martinjohn_Garcia. And don't forget, on Friday, tomorrow, 2 p.m. Central, I will be sitting down on here with Dio and getting interviewed about all of my work, including the stuff I do here on Tao of the Day. So if you have a number between 1 and 81 you want to select, definitely step up. I am going to pick a number. I don't know what number. I don't know what number I want. I do not know, but I will pick one. Is any number sticking out? Is any number popping out at me? Sometimes, it's just gotta sit here and feel through where it's going and pick a number that makes sense. I'm gonna pick 78 today. Today I'm picking 78. Nothing in the world is as soft and yielding as water, yet for dissolving the hard and inflexible, nothing can surpass it. The soft overcomes the hard, the gentle overcomes the rigid. Everyone knows this is true, but few can put it into practice. Therefore, the master remains serene in the midst of sorrow. Evil cannot enter his heart because he has given up helping. He is the people's greatest help. true words seem paradoxical. So this whole nothing is as yielding as water um, is pointing to me for me to this idea that like be yielding like water, be yielding like fill. If you put like Lois came up one time and mentioned like if you put water in a shoe, it's going to take the shape of a shoe. Like and so like no matter what you do with water, it will yield to that which is which is forcing it, right? You put your hand in water, you dive into water, you do all these things, and water will accept you. The soft overcomes the hard, gentle overcomes the rigid. Everyone knows this is true, but few can put it into practice. Therefore, the master remains serene in the midst of sorrow. I love that because, like not only are you serene in the midst of sorrow, but you're serene in the midst of excitement as well. There's that one verse where it's where the Tao talks about people running around like they're at a parade. It's like it mentions why should the king of a land flood about like a fool, right? Like why get excited and why get sad? Like this moment is like serene. This is the bliss, and I know Dr. Rao talks about that on occasion. So if you guys listen to Dr. Rao, which is definitely worth a follow, if you're not already, is being present in being at bliss in this moment, no matter what it is. Like I was talking with someone today about this idea of like, oh, we do because we're not sure, so we do. I wasn't sure, so I was trying to do, but the best thing for me to do is be rather than do, and be sure on the fact that like I'll never be sure, so it doesn't matter. So yeah, so nothing is as yielding as water, yet for dissolving the hard and inflexible, nothing can surpass it. So how can like we can find ourselves interacting with people with hard and inflexible ideas. We can find ourselves interacting with people all the time that are inflexible and are trying to offer resistance to everything. And but if you can allow yourself to yield, sometimes I talk to my clients, and when I have them put their hand up, kind of like giving me a high five, and then I place my hand on top of theirs and I just push ever so slightly so that they immediately push back. I'm like, this is what happens in the world. If you push, then there is going to be resistance. Resistance is a natural thing, but if you yield, I also remember one time in high school, someone was telling me, look, if you're going to get in a fight, the only way that the person who wants to fight you can feel good about fighting is if you fight back. If you don't fight back, the person who's fighting you is going to be like, what the hell am I doing? Like, why am I doing this? It is in the resistance that causes more like attack. I remember I was talking with Guy Finley. Guy Finley, if you're not familiar, is a great thinker. He's got a lot of I interviewed him for my podcast, but he's definitely a high-minded man. High-minded meaning spiritually and well well versed in the practice of being. And he says you attract attack. And how I see that as it revolves around this idea nothing in the world is soft and yielding as water is when you want something, when you're desirous of something, when you start to get hard on what you want, you start to attract attack on that. You start to attract when you know who you are. The more rigid or inflexible you are, the more you are resistant to being present with all that is and the actual you that you are, the full spectrum of who you are, you attract attack. When you think, well, I am I am anything, right? When you think I'm successful. Let's say that. Let's say I am successful. Okay, great. Now, everywhere in your life, you're going to be attracting attack of that model, of that which you believe you are. So everything that you attach to, and Andy and I were talking this morning, Andy Scarantino, another person worth a follow. If you We were talking this morning about this idea. If you attach to something, you are you're getting hard, and you're getting inflexible because you're attached. You're inflexible. And as soon as you're inflexible about something, as soon as you get hard, as soon as you get brittle around a subject, especially one that relates so closely to who you are, how you experience your life, well, that immediately starts to get attacked, as pointed out by Guy Finley once again, as his statement, which is you attract attack. And if you are interested in that, you'll want to check out the Recover Yourself podcast, my podcast. I did an interview with him quite a while ago, maybe over a year ago. And he talks about this concept of attracting attack, and it's a beautiful way of understanding that. And that's what this is, right? Like, this is saying, yet, like water yielding, anything that you can yield, if you can yield to attachment, if you can yield to definition, if you can yield to labels, then you will be able to dissolve those hard and inflexible spaces, right? Just like if but you attract attack every time you hold on to a concept, hold on to an idea, identity. Once you once you're attached to the outcome of something, then you become hard and inflexible. It says, okay, well, this is the structure under which I want to experience this. But very well may be that the substance you're trying to put into that structure is much bigger, and that structure will be destroyed. It's kind of like, if you I know this probably doesn't, it's like a balloon. The balloon is a structure, but the air inside is the same as the air outside, right? Like, but you build the balloon, you blow the balloon up, but maybe the substance that, this, like, I'm writing an article, whatever, but if I'm out there writing this article, and the substance of the article is bigger than an article, then I have to make sure that I limit it so it doesn't break the balloon, so it doesn't break the structure. There are a lot of, like, blog posts, and a lot of writing, and a lot of content out there these days, and a lot of times the content is bigger than the structure, right? The substance is bigger than the structure, and it either doesn't make sense, or it doesn't get a following, or it doesn't get read, or it doesn't whatever, because I'm trying to cover too much, or I'm trying to cover too little. Right? We want to be able to blow that balloon up so that it is it's full, but it's not too full. It's not full enough. And so, in building our structure around the yin aspects of the world, right? Around the feminine, that is the substance that we want to create. We want to make sure that we yield. We want to yield to that. We want to say, oh, this structure can only take so much. And when the structure can only take so much, we can't overdo it. If we overdo it, it's going to pop. The soft overcomes the hard, gentle overcomes the rigid. Everyone knows this is true, but few can put it into practice. Why is that? Why can only a few people put that into practice? Put into practice the gentle overcomes the rigid. Well, maybe because here in the West, at least, and I know this was written in the East, but this was translated in the West by Stephen Mitchell. The soft overcomes the hard. We don't want to be soft. We don't want to be yielding. We want to stand up for our rights, so we get more. And there was a time where we needed to do that. There was a time where yin energy was taking over, and we needed to build structure around it. As we develop through, as a planet, as a universe, we're developing through these stages of yin and yang, right? We develop one until it's too much, and then we develop the other until it's too much, and then we develop one, and even within large chunks of time, we're like, over the last, I don't know, 20 millennia, we've been, maybe not 20, but within the last, like 6 millennia, maybe, we've been really kind of moving into 6 to 10. We've been moving into this space of yang, right? Moving into yang energy more and more. And not to say that one year can't have different elements in those. Of course, it goes back and forth. There's growth and there's balance and all of those things. But as we have been moving into the yang energy, like we have slowly built ourselves into being accustomed to this, and now we're here, right? So as structure has become increasingly important, we have looked at the rigid, we have looked at the hard, we have looked at the definitions of things so heavily that we have overesteemed those things. We have overesteemed those things to such a degree that we need to allow ourselves space to expand the substance, because right now the balloon is under full. Like the outside of the balloon is wrinkly because there still needs to be more substance inside. The substance is always there, but we have to make sure that we're filling that substance. We're filling it with that. And that's where we come in. Once again, I was talking to my buddy Andy today, and we were talking all about this idea of, the time shift, right? As we are shifting into a new time, and that time is upon us, and that's something that, so many thought leaders are out there kind of expressing now. It's like it's time to open up. It's time to allow ourselves this freedom of being who we are. And the only way to do that is to get soft. The only way to do that is to separate yourself from your thoughts, separate yourself from the doing, separate yourself. And that's my message, right? This is my message for today, is that, nothing in the world is as soft and yielding as water, yet for dissolving the hard and inflexible, nothing can surpass it. So, I could rewrite this to express the total of what I need. Nothing within you is as soft and yielding as being. Yet for dissolving the hard and flexible. Yet for, like removing the labels and structure. Nothing can surpass it. Nothing can surpass being. To removing the frustration, for removing all of these things, nothing can surpass being. And yet here I am in my life trying to do all the time. But no, it's not about doing, right? Like it's about like really being drawn to and invited to be. You can accomplish so many things in a day without doing. And that's yielding to this moment. So much of our lives are like, well, I want to do this because it will get me somewhere else. But no, this moment won't get you anywhere else. This moment is all you have. And so like being here in this moment allows you to be more soft, be more yielding. The gentle overcomes the rigid. Everyone knows this is true, but few can put it into practice. Can you be in this moment? Can you be here in this moment, appreciating this moment right now? Therefore, the master remains serene in the midst of sorrow. Sorrow, as we're reading through this, dissolving the hard and inflexible, that the hard and inflexible is a space of sorrow, because if you're inflexible about something, that can create sorrow. Now, that sorrow, deep down, that deep sorrow can create all sorts of different other interactions with the world, right? It could be anger. That sorrow could be um, lack. That sorrow could be all sorts of things. But in the midst of sorrow, you can remain serene. You can remain at bliss. And why is that? Because you are flexible. You are yielding to this moment. You yield to this moment, and you don't need to be sorrow. You don't need to be sorrowful. You don't need to be full of sorrow. You just need to be here, be present as you are. You don't need to be hard and inflexible. You don't need to hold on to a definition. You don't need any of that. All you need to do is be here, right now. You're here, and you can be serene, because this is like, yes, you may very well want to be like, I want to do, I want to do, I want to do, but doing will happen if you're well rested and connected. Right? All of those things will happen. And if you just follow the Tao, right? Follow Tao, follow yourself, follow your heart as it opens, then you will be free. Now, when I ask you to open your heart, all of a sudden you're like, oh, if I open my heart, I am in danger. Right? I'm going to open my heart to this, and I am in danger of being lazy. I am in danger of liking being lazy. I am in danger of not being productive. I am in danger of losing my money. I'm in danger of losing my family. I'm in danger of all of these things, right? Like that's what happens when we're like, what if I don't do anything? Well, if I don't do anything, I'm going to lose everything. Like that's in the West, that's how we think. But really, the soft overcomes the hard, the gentle overcomes the rigid. The hard is this concept that you're going to lose everything. This hard is this concept that you have to do in order to have value. That's not true. You have value, and your value is intrinsically yours. It has nothing to do with anybody else. The next line states, evil cannot enter his heart. Evil cannot enter the heart of the master. Right? Evil cannot enter his heart. Well, I talk about evil. Evil is an interesting thing. I'm a part of a group called IMAT, IAMAAT. This is an organization that is member funded, and its members are programs in Illinois that administer MAT, which is medically assisted treatment, or MAR, medically assisted recovery. So, uh, you know, Suboxone and I can't think of the name. Like usually for people who are coming down off of opioids. Um, we talk about changing the language around addiction, changing the language around people that we in our society deem as evil. Because when you think of something as evil, they don't deserve your attention. They don't deserve your time. But evil cannot enter his heart because evil is a concept. It's a hard, inflexible concept. And with IMAT, we try and change that concept because I don't want you to see people who have addictions as evil. I don't want you to see people who are in prison as evil. I want you to see them as people, you know. And so evil cannot enter the heart of the master because evil is a hard and inflexible thing, and yet the master is soft and yielding. And that's why it can't enter his heart. It's not that evil doesn't exist. Evil can exist in paradise if you define something as evil. When when the lion and the sheep laid together in peace, well, that's just because peace hadn't yet been defined. The lion was still eating the sheep, right? Like, but we didn't define it as evil. We didn't define it as bad. We didn't define it as anything. And before definition, all of these things are peace because peace is in our heart. Love is in our heart. And then until you start to distinguish one from the other, they don't exist, right? Like, and of course, peace is just a word. So before the word, everything was cool, right? Like everything's cool before we define it. Right? Everything is peace before we define evil or before we define danger or before we define war. Before those things are defined, everything is the one thing. And for lack of understanding, we have to just call it peace or bliss or serene or whatever. All of the things, everything is just that. So peace cannot enter his heart. Now, this is where, like that last line, true words seem paradoxical, right? All of this is a paradox. This whole verse 78 is a paradox. And if you have a number, I'm wrapping up 78. So please step up to the stage. I would love to, you know, read you your number and your Tao for the day. Um, because he has given up help, he is the people's greatest help. Because he has given up helping, he is the people's greatest help. And this is something, as a mentor or coach or whatever, this is something that I really emphasize in my workshops as well as in my one-on-one conversations, is always about this idea that, like, I don't care about, like, helping you. I don't care. Like, I go into IOP programs and I say, look, I don't care about your sobriety. Your sobriety might be your problem, but that's your problem. For me, you are what I care about. So that means if you want to go out and use, if you want to go out and drink, and if you want to be out there and relapse and all of that, go do it. That's fine. I'm not going with you, and if you want to contact me, you know where to find me. But I'm not going to aid you in doing that. I'm not going to do because I care about you, and I know that that's not what's best for you, right? Especially when I know what you want. Now, do you know what you want? Do you know what's best for you? And can you grow into that? This is because the master is given up helping. Don't try and help people. Have them help themselves. You stand up and allow them to be. Because nothing in the world is as soft and yielding as water, which means nothing in the world is as has the ability that being has. Yet for dissolving the hard and inflexible, yet for dissolving the rules and the labels and all of that stuff, I'm bad because I'm going out and using, you should help me in these ways. And this is why true words seem paradoxical. So that's 78. Hope you got a lot out of that. That's a big one. I like it quite a bit. Energy Lady, how are you, my dear?
No, I'm doing good. I just jumped on and I said, now. And I did. And look at you were empty.
Just yeah, I was empty, and I just finished 78. So
I
would
don't want
love how.
78, though. I don't want 78.
Yeah, I just finished it, so it's
I
not.
know, I'm only kidding.
Yeah.
I didn't get to hear it. So, how are you this morning?
I'm doing very well. I had an amazing conversation with Andy Scarantino, who's here on the Wisdom app, and we were talking all about an article that I might be writing. Well, I made an outline for an article on burnout and how it relates to like everybody, and how we have created a society that is going to inevitably turn out more people burned out than ever.
Yes.
Yeah. So we're going to be writing an article, and she looked over my notes and my outline, and we just dove deep into a whole bunch of stuff. So it was a really great morning.
I was going to say, that starts your brain off and your heart off pretty good.
Yes, it does. And I have a lot of energy, and I'm ready for some Tao. You got anything?
I'm not your first person, am I?
You are my first person.
So, I saw you get on. What's wrong with people? I'm only
I
kidding.
know. I don't
They
know.
were waiting for me. You know what?
No,
That's
wait.
what it is.
Yeah.
Number 6 is the one that I keep going
Number
6, 16,
6.
and 6 is so big. So
6 is big. It's a short one. And so we might be able to read this in different translations and see what we get out of it. So the Tao is called the Great Mother, empty yet inexhaustible. It gives birth to infinite worlds. It is always present within you. You can use it any way you want.
okay, I'm only kidding.
Yeah.
It's good enough for me.
Let me see. Let me look at this. So I'm going to read you because because this is short, we can kind of I can
We can play with words.
we can play a little bit. And what I want to do is I want to read the Isabel Mears. This one is a great translation. I do love Isabel Mears, but it is so hard to get through. And I haven't explored Isabel Mears on this app, but it is a translation that I like. So let's see if we can look at this together.
And you've done twice with her with me, so this is cool.
Yeah, okay, well good. Good. So then you're familiar. The spirit of the valley dies not. It is called Mother Substance of the Deep. The door of Mother Substance of the Deep is called the root of heaven and earth. Continuously, it nourishes and perseveres. No, it nourishes and preserves. Use it. Thy strength shall not fail.
You know, the image that I have when you were reading that is what I talk about a lot to people to maybe put a light in their head that we're not just human.
Yeah.
And what I
No.
saw was a tree
Yeah.
and going down into the roots because we don't ground ourselves. We don't put ourselves deep to realize where we really come from. And so people either make it really heavy or they make it simple. I think talking about how a tree grows is very simple. It's a visual.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make
Yeah,
sense?
yeah, yeah, absolutely. I love, like this translation is really beautiful. It's not
No, it's
clear.
visual.
It's visual, right?
Yeah.
So like this first line, the spirit of the valley dies not. It's called Mother Substance of the Deep. Like mother substance of the deep. And I talk about substance as being the yin energy, as being that feminine substance or structure, right? And so with her using this mother substance of the deep, like this is the like of the deep, is like, it makes me think of like the core of my body.
And you know what I got was the Mother Earth, the heart of the earth.
Yeah, like deeper than just the surface of the earth, the mother substance of the deep, the like like it makes me think of like a deep cave, and all you can see, it's dark, like, I mean, there's my dark retreat coming back again, and it's dark, and it's like, but you are a light, and so you can see, but you can only see so much because there's so much there. And 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 this starts with the spirit of the valley. A valley is a place that gathers all that
Holds everything.
fog in the morning. Like, it gathers that morning dew fog, and the valley in the spirit of the depth. It's pulling everything into it. It's
Is
called mother substance of the deep.
and to me that's the whole everything. That's Mother Earth. And Mother Earth is not Earth. Mother Earth is everything. What you're
Yeah, and it is.
describing, no, but what you're describing is me.
Yeah. Yeah, and it just attracts to it like a valley, like everything rolls down into the valley, all that substance kind of, like, and even after it's burned off everywhere else, all that morning fog, like, it's still sitting in the valley, just kind of hovering and holding it and loving it, and like being able to embrace that. The door of mother substance of the deep, right? The door of this way in is called the root of heaven and earth.
Which to me is the energy that sits holding space without needing to be noticed.
And like, in my mind, when you said that, I just saw someone meditating connected to the earth and the heaven. And the root of this is within that. It's within your heart,
And just so you know,
connecting.
I'm
Yeah.
creating a I'm energetically creating a community of like-hearted people,
Yeah.
but I'm not, I'm going to say this kindly, flaunting my energies. I'm
Yeah.
allowing them to, I'm the root without ego, because there is no ego when you are standing in that Mother Earth. Does that make sense?
Yes. There is,
And
like, there can't be, because
no,
you recognize that your body is just a part of the whole, and the whole is you. And the only thing that wants to take credit is your body. But the you, when you can touch it, that energy that you're a part of, that which we are all connected to, is.
right, and it's to me for the shift that I'm seeing is I don't have anything to prove because Mother
Right.
Earth has nothing to prove, but people still ask me to prove. So it's really fun that I get to be, hanging out with Julie, just that simple person
Yeah.
is awesome.
Yeah.
And you know what I'm talking about. You can't
I
even
do.
describe what it is.
Yeah.
It is what it is. And
Yeah.
yeah, we were talking
And
about
then,
you. By the way, we were talking about you yesterday.
oh, were you?
Yeah,
Oh,
it was all
that's
good. It was
nice.
all good.
Oh,
It was
yeah.
it was it
Who
was our
who
trio.
hosted? Who hosted?
It was on the back channel.
Oh, okay.
It
Okay.
was
I
Julie,
just want.
myself, and we were putting you in the trio, just so you know.
Oh, well, I'm honored. You guys
Yeah.
are the best.
Yeah.
So here, like, as we're talking about this, the door to mother substance of the deep. I love that phrase, right? Like, that is one thing. The door of mother substance of the deep. Right? That's one
But I
thing.
consider myself a door without expectation, which
Right.
would be that description.
Yeah. The root of heaven and earth. Like, without, like, you are able to provide that. You are able to be present with that. You are able to, because you are that. We are
Exactly.
all that.
And
Now,
and what I was going to say is I was going to say that it's like, yes, I am that, but I understand that I have that within me to know that, and for people to be able to come in because of I'm standing in the root, people to be able to come in and say I want some of that, and you're like, all right, go plant yourself in. Go plant
Right.
yourself in. Go, and that's what it is. Without deep, like, what's it called?
Attachment.
Yeah, the attachment of having to figure it out. I That's where I'm walking away from. I'm not figuring it out. I'm allowing it to be. And the
Yeah.
enjoyment of it, and the enjoyment of going, wow, look at that, instead of, oh my God, can you believe that?
And then and then there's this next line states continuously, continuously it nourishes and preserves.
Because energies do.
Hmm. And I think that that's really what you're talking. When you say, "Yeah, go plant yourself in," you plant yourself in. You root yourself because when you root yourself, you are able to be nourished. Like there is that Tao that says that which is rooted is easy to nourish.
Exactly. No, and that's exactly true. Because if you're not rooted, it's really easy to fall over.
Right.
And God, this continues the conversation Julie and I were having last night. That's really cool because the simplicity of me has been the, I'm going to say nicely, the detriment of me until today.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
it's not detrimental, but it is to inferior energies around me.
Well, and I think that that's the, understanding that you are here now and that
Yes.
it brought you here.
Yeah,
Now
exactly.
you choose to be in this moment, right? The spirit of the valley
Yes.
dies not, which means that it is within you. But
Yes.
sometimes it is so deep that you don't have access to it. Right? It is
Right.
in the valley. If you're not in the valley with the spirit, with that spirit of the valley, it dies not. And so even though you may have been put in prison for 15 years, the spirit that you are connected to all things, right? The mother substance of the deep, right? That's the spirit of the valley. That's the spirit that's within you. If you're not in touch with that for a time, it still doesn't die. And it's always there. And it's not something that you get in touch with. It's something that it is something that you cover. And then once you are ready, you can uncover it. And it takes a long time to get out from under the influence of all of those things that, like cover up the spirit of the valley.
But we actually, in my experience, we actually cover them up in order to protect them, and I say protect in a nice way, to nourish it and preserve it so that when it's a place
Mhm.
of opening it up, it's kind of like
Yeah,
there's
when we're
always,
ready.
right, energetically, then we can actually do it, because people always think it's the mind that has to be ready. No, it's not.
Right.
The mind, you know this, the mind can be
Yeah.
manipulated. And so,
Yeah.
yeah, so that's really cool. That's fun.
And
Because
then
you're
this.
describing in a, just so you know, you're describing in
Yeah.
a much different world the simplicity of what I was talking to Julie about yesterday. It's kind of fun.
Yeah, it's all so simple. I mean, I posted something and Mary Wagstaff. I think she's on here as well. She posted a comment. It's crazy how easy it all is, and I was like, "Yep, that's right." And then this ends with, "Use it. Thy strength shall not fail." And
That just says, okay, just so you know, you're okay now. Oh, okay, thanks.
yeah, there's this thing that came to me a long time ago. It's like you're being held. You are being held. Don't forget that. Don't forget you're being held. You're being held here. The spirit of the valley dies not. You're being held by it. It is called the mother substance of the deep. It is called, like, the spirit of the valley is called mother substance of the deep, and you're being held by the substance of the deep, the substance of deep space, the substance of deep within the earth. You are being held. The door of mother substance of the deep, the door of that which is holding you, is called the root of heaven and earth. You are the root of heaven and earth, and you are being held by this. Continuously, it nourishes and preserves.
No
It's
matter what.
preserving you no
It just
matter
doesn't,
what.
yeah, it doesn't say no matter what, but it's saying no matter what.
Yes, no matter what, continuously. It will never not do this for you. Use it. Thy strength shall not fail. And that's where fear comes in, right? When we think our strength is going to fail, when we think that which we are building is not going to work out, when we are, as I was talking to Andy Scarantino about this morning, this concept of like, I have to attach to the outcome. I have to know that this is going to work and I have to do. But no, use this. Don't do anything. Use the mother substance of the deep, and your strength shall not fail.
And to break it into the simplicity is be you.
Yes, if
Because,
that
and
works
I
for you,
tell
right?
people, be you. No, but what I say is be you, all dumb mucked and everything. Just
Yeah,
be you
just be
and
you.
just be you. And, but I don't, but I need, no, you don't. Just be you.
Whatever this moment has right
Right.
now.
Right. The rooted. Be you in your root right now. Because the only way you can heal a broken, like a sick tree, is to accept it for what it is today so that we can know what to do to allow it to prosper.
Yeah.
Simple.
And as we step out, I want to read the Stephen Mitchell translation one more time. The
Oh,
Tao is
cool.
called the Great Mother. Empty yet inexhaustible, it gives birth to infinite worlds. It is always present within you. You can use it any way you want.
There you go. That should be my motto for the rest of my days, right?
Yeah. It is always present within you. It is always holding you.
Can you send that to me? Just
I will.
that small thing.
Yeah,
Thank you
yeah,
so
yeah.
much.
Absolutely.
I'm glad I was number one next to your
Yeah,
78.
you are always number one.
Oh, you're such a sweetie. Thank you.
Absolutely, absolutely. If anybody wants to pick a number between 1 and 81, please step up and let's talk a little Tao. The Tao is so great. Like I don't know if you heard all of this. Like with me reading 78, helping me out, and then this coming up with Energy Lady and talking about the things that she was talking about with Julie yesterday. Julie is probably working right now, but I believe she will have. I think she has one more day. I don't know if today's her last day. I think today is her last day working, and and for those of you that are listening, tomorrow I have an interview with Dio is going to interview me here at 2 p.m. Central. And if you benefit from the work I do, please consider giving me a tip through Venmo at martinjohn_Garcia. Other than that, if you are interested in reading a number with me, why don't you pick a number between 1 and 81? I would love to have you up, and we can cover a Dow together. Again, we covered 78 and number 6 so far. I'll give you guys a couple minutes before I end it because we don't want to sit around and beg. I'm not one to beg. But if you're interested in picking a number between 1 and 81, definitely step up and I will be happy to read it. Other than that, Sunday, I will be releasing a play by play of my dark retreat. So if you don't know about my dark retreat, if you weren't part of the Q&A that I did a couple Fridays ago, or last Friday, I don't remember even, then you might be interested in what I experienced in the dark retreat. The Q&A will then get released the following week, just as a supplement. Other than that, yeah, my podcast, which you can find here on my links, is Recover Yourself. I'm your host, Martin John, the recovery mentor. I got 21 years clean and sober, and almost 21 and a half. And that is and the reason that I have that is because I focus on what it is I'm recovering to beyond what I'm recovering from. The Tao has been a big part of that, which is why I do the Tao of the day, because I want you to understand how you can live a more reasonable life. And I'm telling you, those people who have come up and regularly asked me about the Tao and brought a number, I feel like they have become more confident and more happy with the lives they're leading. Now, that doesn't mean that it's a straight shot. There's ups and downs and ins and outs, but that's the way growth happens. You cannot play an accordion without bringing air into it and then once again pushing it out. You know, it's a conversation. It's music. We get to dance to it. It's something that's really beautiful, and just like you. And so, if you have a number between 1 and 81 you want to pick, step up. I would love to have you come up. Other than that, you guys can contact me on the back channels of Instagram. You can go ahead and send me a DM. I'm always checking, making sure that I'm keeping up with everything. Check out my podcast, Recover Yourself. I also take all of these Tao of the Days and I put them on Spotify. So if you search for Tao of the Day, you will find all of the Tao of the Day episodes over on Spotify. I also, if you go to my website, martinjohn.com, you can go to my wisdom talks and search # or hashtag and a number, and you will pull up all of those numbers because I did put a search in there. So that you guys can find, like, if your number is 16, go ahead, search 16 and listen to all of the times that I talked about 16 with different people, and I'm sure you'll get some insight. So I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for attending. I really love this community. And once again, tomorrow, 2 o'clock Central, I will be interviewed by Dio, all about the work that I do. I have upcoming workshop dates, and I'm looking forward to seeing you guys there. So if you're interested in the workshops that I do, the Recover Yourself workshops, and all of that, definitely shoot me a DM. I also have links, like I said, in my profile. All right. Well, once again, thank you so much for another successful Tao of the day. And until next time, keep recovering yourself.